to be completed and handed over. Sports Minister Narcisse Mwele Kombi steps up his visits for the stadium and announces a ceremony to unveil the best selected works for the official anthem and mascot of the competition tomorrow. As the National Day on May 20 draws closer, Cameroonians are hailing the different symbols and cultures that show if their national unity. Today, we stop at the Reunification Monument in Yaoundé. Nothing as precious as family. Women's Empowerment and Family Affairs Minister blazes the trail for a successful International Family Day celebration tomorrow. May 14, 2021. Good evening and welcome to the 7:30 News. I am Benin Bumagana. Welcome.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Once again, good evening. The Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Professor Narcisse Mwele Kombi, has expressed satisfaction with ongoing construction works at the Olembe Sports Complex, few months to the deadline for the stadium to be delivered. He was speaking Friday as he paid a surprise visit to the sports complex to evaluate the rate of construction works there. Details with you, Baldwin Sama.
Workers at the Olembe complex are busy working, trying to complete the entrance into the annex number 1 of the Olembe Stadium. This as Sports and Physical Education Minister Professor Narcisse Mwele Kombi pays a surprise visit to be sure work is progressing.
It is important for us to be assured that work is going on in good condition in this complex of Olembe Stadium. Step by step, day after day, week after week, we have to reach the top of the hill.
Some workers are busy placing pangolin skills, which will change the stadium's look, as some tiles are being placed in some of the rooms at the hotel section alongside ongoing segmentation.
I am very satisfied to see that today we have more than 800 workers on this site.
Work has improved in the restaurant as the different dressing rooms are 80% ready with special boxes with private courts reserved for the players already available. Some cables are being installed at the central AC system.
And this notice coming in from the president of the organizing committee of the African Nations Cup. He says the Minister of Sport and Physical Education, President of COCAN 2021, has the honor to inform the public that within the framework of preparations for the 33rd edition of the Total AFCON Cameroon 2021, scheduled to take place from the 9th of January to the 6th of February 2022, the ceremony to unveil the best selected works of the national artistic contest for the official anthem and mascot of this competition will take place on Saturday, 15th of May 2021 at 8:30 p.m. at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex. This ceremony will take place in strict compliance with barrier measures taken by the government to fight against COVID-19, such as the respect of physical distancing and compulsory wearing of face masks. Consequently, access to the Yaoundé Multi-Sports Complex will be exclusively and restrictively reserved for persons with an invitation card. The Minister of Sport and Physical Education, President of COCAN 2021, calls on the understanding, civic responsibility, patriotism and discipline of all and specifies that the said ceremony will be broadcast live on CRTV television. Signed, Narcisse Mwele Kombi, the Minister of Sports and Physical Education. Still talking sports this evening, Coton Sport of Garoua take on Giraffe FC of Dakar on Sunday in Garoua for the first leg quarter-final match of the CAF Confederations Cup. Tomorrow, Saturday 15, Cameroonian athletes will take part in a nine-nation martial arts competition in Yaoundé. Here's our weekend sports preview with you, Romeo Kenye.
To unveil different selected artistic contests for the official anthem and mascot of the 2021 AFCON will take place this Saturday. The event, to be presided at by Sports Minister Professor Narcisse Lekombi, is programmed for 8:30 p.m. at the Yaoundé Multipurpose Sports Complex. The Guinness Women's Super League enters day 12 action this Saturday with some 4 games on menu. Canon Fee takes on Caimang Fee. Awa welcomes FCA Boulouva. Vision Sports of Bamenda will match up Eding Fee. And ISS Diamari will challenge Amazon FAP. Meanwhile, Coton Sports of Garoua on Sunday hosts Senegalese giants Giraffe FC in the first leg quarter-final round of the CAF Confederations Cup. The encounter will take place at the Room Diaja Stadium in Garoua. The game will be broadcast on CRTV Sports and Entertainment. Elsewhere, a mixed martial arts tournament grouping some 9 countries from Africa and beyond will take place in Yaoundé this Saturday.
Now let's get into our special page on national unity. But we start by talking about the family. The International Day of Families will be observed tomorrow Sunday under the theme Morality, Crisis and COVID-19. What are the challenges for the Cameroonian families? Ahead of tomorrow's celebrations, the Minister of Women's Empowerment and the Family, Marie-Theresa Bena Ondoa, in a declaration in Yaoundé, regrets the fact that there is an explosion of deviant behaviors from young people in Cameroon. Emanuela Vemnu reports.
Cameroonian families have come under the weight of the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions, the coronavirus pandemic, and an explosion of deviant behaviors in schools. Social ills which officials fear have weakened many families today.
Increased poverty in vulnerable households and loss of employment. Exacerbation of marital and domestic violence as well as gender-based violence. Early and unwanted pregnancies.
The 27th International Day of Families will be observed Saturday with a call for a concerted effort to stamp out vices like
excessive consumption of drugs, alcohol, pornography, rape, group sex, as well as practices of magic in and out of school, acts of violence.
The Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family is bent on ensuring stable families in Cameroon.
Continue carrying out actions that will likely help in the stability and harmony within families.
The belief is that once the family, the smallest unit of the society, is stable, so will the country.
One of Cameroon's greatest achievements after her independence was the coming together of East and West Cameroon in 1972 to form the United Republic of Cameroon. To represent wonders, a reunification monument was constructed thereafter in Yaoundé, and it is today a reminder that the country is indivisible. Yotika Lelisonge recounts the story of the Republic of Cameroon through her reunification monument.
Cameroon made a wide stride in demonstrating national unity with the construction of this reunification monument, sculptures that tell the story of a dream come true.
The Cameroonians imposed the will of unity to the colonial masters. The unification of Cameroon was one of the a great moment in the history of Cameroon that should be symbolized by something, and the monument came as a symbol to show how great was the need for unity, and the need should be seen.
One Cameroon, one people, irrespective of ethnic group, tribe, color, and creed, represented finely in this art as a father wields the fire torch with children in his arms, a symbol of freedom.
You have a great mother with many children, and you see the spear is going up to show that this diversity will come together under one mama, but those people are going to continue till they have to go to the female.
The nation then spirals with two snakes, illustrating the fusion between East and West Cameroon to make the United Republic of Cameroon, which is today the Republic of Cameroon, a heritage covetously protected.
100 days after taking up his functions as the pioneer president of the West Regional Council, Dr. Jules Hilaire Foka has said that his team is now poised to carry out developmental projects. For the Bafoussam City Mayor Roger Tafam, his priorities after 1 year is the improvement of finances and the fight against urban disorder. Let's go over to Bafoussam for details.
Upon assumption of duty as the pioneer president of the West Regional Council, Dr. Jules Hilaire Foka first sought to settle down in these temporal premises.
Things are progressing gradually. We set up a solid team of experts to assist us in the production of our strategic document of development.
At the helm of the Bafoussam City Council, Mayor Roger Tafam's focus during the first year of his stewardship was the improvement of the finances of the council.
In 2019, our administrative account was 1,500 million. And during the year 2020, we have reached 2,174 million. When we came here, the Parc de Loisirs there was already 8 months that the market was just bouncing between Yaoundé and Bafoussam. We have tried and it is almost finished.
With the AFCON 2022 competition around the corner, giving a facelift to Bafoussam is a must to him.
The fight against urban disorder in town. We have tried to remove all those people who were all along the side of the road. We have to give a good image to the town before the African Nations Cup. That's our main challenge now.
Be it the regional council president or the city mayor, leaving an indelible mark of development is their drive, despite the many hurdles.
Let's go over to the northwest, where the governor, Lele Adolphe Afrique, has described the northwest region as a leverage of national unity. During a press briefing in Bamenda, the governor mentioned that the region's traditions, cultures and ethnic diversity permits for a greater bond between the region and other parts of the country with a similar background. From Bamenda, here is Karin Tosam.
The Northwest region is made up of several ethnic groups and villages that share a common culture with other tribes from across Cameroon.
The Cameroon population, those of North, are Bantus in their majority, with Fulanese. And you find those ethnic groups also in other regions. A sample of almost all the ethnic groups, the cultural groups, the religious groups.
Administrative officials in the region are also of the opinion that living together remains a major characteristic of the Northwest despite the ongoing socio-political crisis.
We are therefore appealing to the leader of all those various communities to build up the capacity of our people, our populations, to fight against hate speech.
The region is also reputed for producing the unique grass-field regalia, popularly known as the atogo, that has gained national and international recognition.
On to another news now. Dr. Joseph Dipita Pokos Ndumbe has been laid to rest amongst his ancestors at Mbange in Douala. He was buried this Friday during a ceremony attended by the personal representative of the head of state, Mr. Samuel Vondo Ayolo, the head of the civil cabinet at the presidency of the Republic. Posthumously, he was raised, I'm talking about Dr. Joseph Dipita, to the rank of Grand Master of the Order of Cameroon's Merits. More with Veronica Benyala.
Joseph Dipita Pokos Ndumbe leaves the stage at the ripe age of 90. 90 years of curing the sick as a pharmacist, 90 years of building his community as a politician and 90 years of gathering and nurturing as a family man. Yet the ceremony was solemn and brief. No wreaths laid except that of the presidential couple, Paul and Chantal Biya. The fullness and richness of the life of Joseph Dipita Pokosindombe was visible in the diversity of the crowd present to bid him farewell. The religious ceremony was said by Pastor Epo Moïse and Tanga Jean-Jules of UAPC, a beautiful ceremony that paid homage to the importance of love for one's community. The children of the departed patriarch took turns to share the wonderful moments spent with their father. Though a busy and accomplished person, Dr. Joseph Dipita Pokosindombe was a dedicated family man, a legacy which his widow exhorts his children to keep alive. The condolence message of the head of state, Paul Biya, read by the SDO for the Vuri, hailed a young man who studied abroad and returned promptly to serve his country. The departed son of the Douala was raised posthumously to the rank of Grand Master of the Cameroon Order of Merit, medal placed on the casket by the head of the civil cabinet of the President of the Republic, Mr. Samuel Mvondo Ayolo. It is with this ultimate honor that Dr. Joseph Dipita Pokosindombe bowed out of his last scene.
The mortal remains of the former government minister, Mr. Martin Aristide Leopold Okuda, will be laid to rest tomorrow at his native land. His journey to his final resting place began today with a coffin ceremony at the mortuary of the Yaoundé Teaching Hospital, followed by a requiem mass at Montfebe Monastery. It was an opportunity for the bereaved to come together to grieve, remember, and celebrate the life of the former Minister of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development. Let's hear more from Constantine Baum.
In this casket is the physical remains of Martin Aristide Leopold Okuda. This coffin kickstarts his final journey as he goes to his everlasting sleep. The coffining ceremony was an opportunity for the bereaved to come together to grieve, remember, and celebrate a life lived. The chapel of rest could contain the more than 100 mourners, including government ministers and some senior state officials. From Yaoundé Teaching Hospital mortuary, the cortege drove through the streets of Yaoundé to the Montfebe Monastery for the first requiem mass. The personalities who attended the funeral is an indication that Martin Aristide Okuda was a great man.
If you see all the crowd, that means that he was somebody he is very cool. A very cool man.
Late Martin was born on the 6th of September 1951. He was a Cameroonian politician who held various ministerial roles. On the 6th of March 1987, he was appointed to the cabinet of President Paul Biya. Subsequently, on 31st July 1991, he was appointed Special Advisor to Prime Minister Sado Yatu. On March 18, 2000, he became Minister of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development, serving until 8 December 2004, when he became Minister of Public Works. He was a member of the Executive Committee of the CPDM. He will be buried tomorrow.
Let's follow some stories now on the celebration of the Ramadan feast. In Cameroon and in Yaoundé, the faithful were called upon to follow the words of Prophet Muhammad and continue praying for the country. Details from you, Elise Waji Banme.
It has been 30 straight days of fasting from sunrise till sunset for the Muslim faithful. 30 days of a spiritual journey with the most powerful being but unseen, and 30 days of self-denial, penitence, charity, and submission. At the end of such a spiritual journey, full of every spiritual blessings one can think of, the followers of Prophet Muhammad could not refrain but chant endlessly, Allah Akbar. Simply put, Allah is great.
We have ended this period of fasting, and we do hope that henceforth we are going to forge ahead for our development.
The officiating Imam of the day, Sheikh Mahmoud Ali of the Ngaoundé main mosque, in his sermon, reminded the Muslims that Ramadan does not have as objective putting a pause to bad behaviors, but completely putting an end to them. In unity of hearts and spirits, prayers were offered to Allah for peace to continue to reign in Cameroon and the global health crisis to come to an end.
And in Bafoussam, Muslim faithful were called upon to repent from their wayward ways and again follow the teachings of Prophet Muhammad and let it be their practice daily. Kevin Nembo tells us the Ramadan story from Bafoussam.
They assembled in two separate prayer grounds, that is the Bafoussam ceremonial ground and the esplanade of the Bafoussam Central Mosque, clad in their finest outfits to worship Allah during a special prayer session that marks the end of 30 days of fasting. In both prayer grounds, Muslim faithful, whether young or old, rich or poor, joined their leaders to pray for peace in Cameroon and the world at large.
We have prayed for our country in general, that Allah should give us peace in our country. We have prayed for our head of state and all his followers. And we have prayed that every problem that is taking place in our country, Allah should should put an end in all what is not good in our country.
The faithful have been invited to continue to live in accordance to Prophet Muhammad's teachings, even after Ramadan.
In Yaoundé 7, the Muslims were urged to intensify prayers to Allah to put an end to the socio-political crisis in some regions of Cameroon and an end to the COVID-19 pandemic threatening the lives of many Cameroonians. The prayers were led by the head of the Muslim community of Nkolbison, Imam Husseini. Victor Siga reports.
It is with this convoy that the Imam of Nkolbison hailed faithful at the prayer grounds to commit the Ramadan feast in the hands of Allah. He expounded on the significance of the day to preach on nation building, calling on faithful to know their role in the development of the country.
We are praying God to accord peace in our country and to cure those who are illness about COVID-19. And about our population, we ask them to live in peace with other community. That's what our head of state asked to people to do.
He also laid emphasis on obedience to God and enjoined the crowd to scrupulously respect the COVID-19 barrier measures. Celebration ended in pomp and fanfare at the residence of the Imam, where he communed with his people and the needy.
In Douala, Muslim faithful were called upon to share with the poor and needy and also be shining examples of Isaac, who did not hesitate to obey his father Abraham. Details with you, Gladys Atemba Chechuma Banla.
An intense moment of prayer during which Muslim faithful in Douala thank Allah for seeing them through 30 days of fasting, continuous protection over Cameroon and peaceful cohabitation among Cameroonians.
I would like to pray for a better Cameroon.
At the Douala Central Mosque, one of the venues for prayers, the faithful were challenged to preserve peace, harmony, health and always spread love. A similar message was echoed at the Kangbeto prayer ground. The Imam, Abdul Mutalib Ngowu, took advantage of the double celebration of Ascension and Ramadan to remind Muslim faithful of the unity of God and values of faith. Values that promote peace, interreligious cohabitation and the protection of society. Another important message stressed upon on this blessed day, which unites the feast of Ascension and Ramadan, was that of protection from the coronavirus. Messages and attitudes Muslim spiritual leaders hope will remain in the faithful after this sacred day of Ramadan.
Let's go over to church. And in the East region, Christians have been exhorted to consider every victory against Spain as a blessing on Ascension and continue to hope in Christ. Elizabeth Mbong-Bonnet Agbo has details.
Be it at the Crise the King Roman Catholic Parish in Corbicon, Betwa, where the East Regional Governor Gregoire Vongo and his entourage commune on Ascension Day, or at the Église Presbyterian Camerounese Betwa Station, the message was the same. The Ascension of Christ brings hope to the Christians.
It is the last mystery of the Easter of Jesus Christ. After his death, he went back to the Father. Our last destination is to be in the paradise with the Father.
The goodness of the Ascension must be visible in the lives of the Christians who are expected to be witnesses of Christ to the ends of the earth.
Jesus Christ went up to heaven, left the disciples
on earth like myself, to know that it was the beginning of my own mission on earth.
Pastor gave us some reasons why we should rejoice, because Jesus is going to prepare a place for us.
The Ascension Day feast in the land of the rising sun continued in homes and other leisure sports.
And then we'll go over to Douala, where Muslim faithful have been called upon to share with the poor and the needy and shining examples of Isaac, who did not hesitate to obey his father Abraham. This was the message echoed by imams. This was a message echoed also by imams in that part of the country. But we're talking about church. It was also a message for them to stay faithful to the Lord Jesus Christ, even on this day of Ascension. Details from Crtv Douala.
Mankind today is plagued by several ills and conflicts. Lack of love for one another is portrayed in all spheres, and the impression is like no one cares. The rector of the St. Peter and Paul Cathedral, leading a special mass to observe Ascension, told Christians that making heaven should be their prime objective in whatever they do on earth. Making heaven means accepting Jesus, his word and commandments based on love. Self-examination and adjusting to prescribed Christian and Catholic values have been the recommendations to Christians during the Mass.
We have the obligation to practice peace, love, so that the Christ, while ascending to heaven on this day, might go with all our worries.
Tell us that He can send us the spiritual status, and I think in this spirit we can announce his speech.
Concerned about the moral well-being of the youth, a conference has been announced by the cathedral to address social ills like the phenomenon of magic wallet and sex among the youth, to be moderated by His Grace Samuel Kleda, Archbishop of Douala.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
On to our special COVID-19 page. Baldwin Sama explains to us the need to get the second dose of the anti-COVID-19 vaccine. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Benin Bumagana. Tonight we are simply out to sensitize Cameroonians, especially those who've already received the first doses of the vaccines, on the need for them to have a second dose of the vaccines, which are very, very important, because the tendency is most persons who have been vaccinated get to forget that there is a second dose of either the Sinopharm or the AstraZeneca vaccines that they must take, required by the health professionals, and that is why they must respect this particular period outlined for either for the vaccines. For Sinopharm vaccines, they have 21 days to observe before taking the second dose, and for AstraZeneca, it's a period of 3 months that must be respected between the first dose and the second dose of the vaccine. So we are sensitizing and reminding them of for the need to have a second dose of their vaccines. They don't just have to rely on the first doses for these vaccines. They must have these second doses where they were vaccinated, and equally make available the necessary information to the different health experts when they are having this second dose of the vaccines. So the take-home message tonight is for those who have not yet had themselves vaccinated, they should make use of the availability of the different vaccination centers in the 10 different regions of the country. Yourself, Benin Bumagana, if you are not yet vaccinated, have yourself vaccinated, and if you've received the first dose of your vaccines already, don't forget that you must have a second dose of the vaccines. Back to you, Benin Bumagana.
Very well understood. Baldwin Sama van Kamer. Let's get back to Douala, where some personnel of the Cameroon Telecommunications, Camtel, have been rewarded for their excellent contribution to the success of the company so far. The ceremony marked the celebration of the International Labour Day several days ago. Rosalind Fossa reports.
The Cameroon telecommunication has never witnessed a festival of awards as it did this 2021. For the first time, Camtel has celebrated and distinguished her workers to mark the 135th edition of the International Labour Day. This award ceremony, that simultaneously held in all parts of the country, was to promote meritorious employees who put in their best for the company to attain its goal.
We have decided to promote our staff because they are the main and most important resource that we have in our company. So to make sure that our results are good, the performances are good, we have to make sure that the staff is well taken care of.
During these events, workers, including those going on retirement, receive prizes ranging from 1 to 15 million CFA francs as recognition from the management to the collaborators who have been very good.
At the end of the year, we have to evaluate them to see what they have done and then to make sure that we appreciate and let it known by everybody that this staff has been very good and it deserves to be congratulated and to be motivated.
The award ceremony for both beneficiaries and the management of Camtel is a sign of more encouragement and drive towards achieving the best.
What I was doing in the Southwest as the technical director, I never knew people were seeing what I was doing. I thank God that today my work is recognized.
You have to work hard wherever you are, be it in the extreme north, in the south, or in the southwest. The head office is watching all of you.
After this successful staff award ceremony, the telecommunication company yearns for better results, which will also be celebrated next year during the 2022 edition of the International Labour Day.
Before we go, let's find out where we can go to this weekend to have fun. Victor Sigate, Cesar Sandrine Nanga, Spaco and others will be granting spectacles and shows this day in Yaoundé. Let's follow the report.
Tonight with Spaco at the Molika complex at BMC Lac in the nation's capital. Big G, Daddy Black, will be with him to give you a beautiful start of the weekend. Take the rendezvous at 7 p.m. prompt.
Drinking, making noise. Your wife is there holding beer with another man.
Join Hervé Ngebo this Saturday at Camtel Club Dragage in Yaoundé to dance to the rhythm of love. Thursday, May 20, celebrate the National Day with Dynasty Lotique, Aimé Lobo and Josco L'Inquiéteur at La Planète Ponce Cabaret in Yaoundé. The show begins at 7 p.m. Remember, having your face mask is a necessity.
Cameroon. Thank you very much. At 8:30, you would watch the news in French with Ataba Zinoma. Tomorrow we'll be back. Remember that tomorrow it is going to be a moment to unveil the mascot and theme song, and it is going to be live on CRTV. God bless you.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.